Hello everyone, Paul Rogers here. Today is April the 1st, 2018. And I hope all of you are spending some time with your families, enjoying this little vacation. But some of you are probably looking at the market and concerned over price action. And I want to spend a few minutes analyzing what's going on and give you my thoughts. So, let's start out with Bitcoin to US dollar daily chart. So each one of these little candles represents one day. Now, Bitcoin is still in this massive downtrend, and it's been in this downward trend channel for some time, since the beginning of this year. There's a couple times where it's flirted with breaking out. We got so close here. I remember making a video and saying if we can maintain above 12,000 for a couple days, well, that'll be a sign of a reversal. And I really thought Bitcoin was going to reverse, but it didn't. Tons of sellers stepped in and just started selling Bitcoin like crazy. Bitcoin wasn't in this previous trend channel. That was an upward trend channel. Now it's broken out, and it looks like we're heading towards this previous low right here. Now, Bitcoin is going to find some support pretty soon because we're almost at the 30 RSI, which is, historically speaking, an excellent time to purchase Bitcoin. Every time we've hit the 30 RSI, people have made money purchasing. We're not quite there yet. I think we need Bitcoin to dip to around 5,000-ish, 5,500, 5,700 range. Basically this previous low right here and also right. I mean, this is a major support for Bitcoin. Will this hold? It's a 50-50. I mean, we're in this downtrend channel. I do think Bitcoin will probably dip below this level, and most likely we have to be ready for the fact that Bitcoin will probably bounce off of this this resistance right here on this downward trend channel. So we're talking about Bitcoin having a possibility of hitting 3,000. I mean, it's possible. Technically speaking, it's very possible for Bitcoin to hit 3,000. So mentally be prepared for that. I think Bitcoin will find a base. If it doesn't find a base at around 5,000 or so, it will find a base around 3,000. And there's going to be a point at which Bitcoin needs to be left alone, meaning there has to be a point at which the price of Bitcoin just hovers around a certain level. The best example we can look at of what's going on right now is what happened a few years back when Bitcoin went from $100 all the way up to maybe 1,200, and then the Mt. Gox fiasco happened, and Bitcoin went all the way back down to around $200 to $300. That's what we're experiencing right now. So Bitcoin ran up all the way to 20,000 nearly, and now we're pulling back to, we're going to have what looks to be something around an 85 to 90% correction. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to head all the way down to below 5,000. Find a base. I mean, where it settles between, probably somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 is where Bitcoin's going to settle, and it's going to have to settle there for a while. It's going to need to find support. And I mean, think about how long Bitcoin was ranging between $200 or $300 after its last previous major run up. It was there for about a year. So Bitcoin's going to need some time to just hold its position. People are going to have to forget about the technology a little bit. The people that were just speculative. Everyone can keep developing the tech, the actual tech behind blockchain technology, and the case for a bullish Bitcoin will return. But we're going to need some time to recover, because this is not. This is a major correction. And I remember looking at the last time Bitcoin corrected like this back in, I think it was, let me check this chart. When was Bitcoin's major run up and fall? It's hard to see on this chart. I'm going to have to. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And then rewind. Nope. 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 Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. No. Okay, here it is. Thank you for bearing with me, by the way. So Bitcoin had its major run up. This is in 2013, 2014. Whoa, Mount Gox. Ah. And then look at this, just a bear market. Bitcoin drifts all the way down to around $200 to $300. And then all of a sudden, boom, look, things change. We go from bear market to bull market. But it takes time. It takes time. So that is what I'm expecting here too, folks. I'm expecting, and I mean, the charts already are proving it. I mean, it's already happened. The big run up, couple attempts, all of a sudden a downtrend channel established. We need to find a floor. It needs to be left for dead. Bitcoin has to be left for dead in order for this thing to shake out. Not people looking for to make a quick buck on buying a dip. I mean, it has to be left for dead. At what level will Bitcoin be left for dead? In my opinion, it'll be above 3,000, but it could be as low as 2,500, 2,300. That's possible too. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go down to 1,000. I've heard some people say 1,000, but I don't think that's possible. But I think it's going to be around $3,000. It's going to have to be left alone, and all of a sudden, as the technology keeps developing and things keep progressing, people will start. Big time investors will get back into Bitcoin quietly. They'll start buying it up at a really good price, 3,000, 4,000. And all of a sudden you'll see these spikes form and Bitcoin will start an uptrend. It'll run up to 5,000 or 6,000 and then go back down and run back up and go back down, and it'll make new highs. And that's how it's going to be. So, I mean, this is the same pattern repeating itself. Bitcoin's first run up to $100, the same thing happened. Went from $5 or $10 to $100, then back down to maybe 20, and then it's run up to 11, 1,200, back down to 200. Now Bitcoin is doing the exact same thing. This is nothing new. It might be new to you, but it's not new to Bitcoin. Think of it that way. And I know I've been telling people, hey, I think the market's going to turn around, and I was wrong. There's something that everyone needs to accept here that's happening, is that when the Bitcoin futures market was opened, that allowed really big players that are in traditional finance to be able to short Bitcoin very easily. So they can very easily manipulate the price of Bitcoin. I mean, traditional finance can push Bitcoin down to, they can push it under $1,000 if they really want to. That would take a lot of energy to do. It's kind of like in a car, how fast can a car go? I mean, production cars can go up to 200 miles per hour, but how much air do they have to push out of the way in order to get to 200 miles per hour? A hell of a lot of air. And because of that, because of the resistance that's created by pushing those limits of speed, most cars don't go that fast, obviously. It takes a lot of energy to do that. In order to push Bitcoin down to under $1,000, it would take a ton of effort for that to happen, because so many other new buyers would step in and buy. So I don't think they're going to push the price down to 1,000, even though they could. I think price around 3,000 will be kind of the bottom. Maybe it won't even hit 3,000, but I'm mentally at 3,000. I drew this line a long time ago at 3,000. I mean, we might get a bounce in the short term at 5.55 or so, but I do think Bitcoin's probably ultimately heading down to around 3. So this is going to be kind of a cleansing period, meaning that a lot of these projects that aren't solid projects will die. A lot of projects will die. I'd say 80% of projects out there that aren't solid will die. That's why people are going to Bitcoin right now, because projects that aren't solid, people are selling those projects and going into projects that are solid. And ultimately, the projects that are left standing will be much stronger and will have survived this. Someone's going to have a name for this crash. I don't know what they're going to call it, but they're going to probably name it. Because it is a bear market, and it will be looked back upon, and people who went through it are going to say, oh yes, I remember this time, I remember what people were saying. And you know, people that were around for the first Bitcoin or the last Bitcoin run up to, you know, $1,100-$1,200, they've been through this before. They know what's happening. So just don't expect this to turn around overnight. It's possible for Bitcoin to reach new all-time highs by the end of the year. I personally think the cycle is going to take longer to complete. I think this period of Bitcoin being left for dead is going to have to be at least 6 months or so. And I mean, I'm thinking next year. I think in 2020 we're going to see Bitcoin really strong. But I think the rest of this year is going to be the process of Bitcoin being left for dead, and then probably forming an uptrend towards the end of the year. 2019 will be Bitcoin climbing slowly but surely, and maybe 2020 will be another explosive year where Bitcoin maybe gets to 100,000 or so. But at this moment, we need to let the cycle play out. I mean, we've had so many chances to have a quick drop and then a bunch of people step in and buy. And the problem is there's just too many people manipulating this market. And I mean, if it was just retail investors and big fish playing this market, I guarantee you Bitcoin's price would be really high. The problem is that we have some really big players involved, and they're looking to make a buck. And it was easier for them to make money shorting than it was to push Bitcoin higher. That's the bottom line. They're going to look for whatever way is the easiest way to make money. And in this case, the retail side was bullish on Bitcoin. So they're going to take the opposite position in order to make money, because they have more power. They have more power. A whale has more power than a bunch of little fish, because fish are easy to scare, right? So once the general populace, people that were generally invested in Bitcoin a while ago, once they are bearish on Bitcoin, and it's getting that way, it's not quite there yet, but once they say, oh, don't even say the name Bitcoin, once they're at that point, that's when they'll flip the record over, and they'll start playing a different tune, and they'll buy up Bitcoin and ride it up. So be smart. Don't sell your cryptocurrency if you can afford to. I'm not selling anything right now. Don't do it. I'm saying here that I think Bitcoin's going to drop by another 50%. I don't care. I'm not selling. I could be wrong, and things could reverse at any point. And I'm not going to give anyone the satisfaction of taking any of my cryptocurrencies on the cheap. I'm totally fine with waiting a year or two to sell a little bit of my cryptocurrencies if I want to take some profits. I'm not going to do it right now. Wait, Marisa. Anyhow, everyone, Paul Rogers out for now. I'll try to keep you guys updated. I know a lot of people have stopped making videos and stuff because they get depressing, but I'm going to keep making content every now and often and update you guys. But keep in mind, we are right at the 30 RSI. It just needs to dip a little bit more, so this could be a very good opportunity to buy. So don't be too pessimistic. Just understand what's happening and plan accordingly. Later, guys.